Today I would like to talk about how we create a big bang with a little budget for our commercial customers. You can use it in residential. We mainly do commercial, and this is how we do it using RGB floods. A lot of people think we're talking about these type of RGBs when we mention Christmas lights, but in reality we're talking about the RGB floodlights. They're relatively inexpensive. They cast a big mega swath of light, and we can really decorate the side of a building, stones, accent trees with our RGBs. This is a very small one that we use right here. The great thing about this is we can turn up and turn down the brightness. This may not be coming across on the camera as well as it should, but pick your color, mix it and match it with different locations. We use these when we're doing little small trees, especially in new areas that have new plant jobs, new landscape that's still very small. We don't want to go in there with the big mega lights just yet. We can put these out front, cast a shadow on there. Take a look at some of these pictures of some that we've done in some hospitals and some new landscape. We want it to bounce off the stone. We want it to bounce off the side of buildings and plants. These are great. The good thing about these, they cost you about $25. We usually rent them out between $25 and $50. That includes us going and setting them up and programming them and then maintaining them throughout the year. These are IP66, which means they're waterproof, but we still do have water intrusion, especially if you expect the lawn sprinkler is going to come on and be spraying right into them. We start with the small ones out front, and then we back them up with the next size I'm going to show you. As we begin to layer our RGBs within a landscape, this would be our second line of RGBs. We put these in behind the smaller ones that we just showed you. These cast a very broad spectrum across a lot of square footage. They're much brighter, but since they're going across such a big swath of area, they don't come off as intense as the smaller ones do when you focus those on into little areas. What we like to do is get as high wattage as you can. This is a 120 watt equivalent. It really doesn't pull that. It pulls about a fraction of that, being that it's LED. Again, it's IP66 on your waterproofing. That doesn't mean that it's not going to get some leak, especially on these that we're getting from overseas. The great thing about these is we can get 3 or 4 seasons out of them. We're paying about $100 a piece for them, maybe a little bit more. They use a remote control similar to this. All of the remote controls work throughout the gamut of all of them. And you just got to get right up on them because it is IR, so you got to get right up on front of them to be able to change them. We mount them to these type of boards so that it's easy for us to set it and get out of there. These are the second line that we put in behind our small ones, mainly stone features, a lot of big trees. We may even hang them up on branches in trees and shine them at the top. These are not permanent by any means, so we're not calling these landscape lighting. These are just accent holiday lightings. This is our second line. And these are the ones we use at the back. These are the top of the buildings. These are the ones shining down the sides of the buildings. You can see they really cast a big spread. These are expensive, $400 for one of these right here. We use them how you wouldn't normally think so as well. Most people think this way. We also will put them this way inside doorways. This gives you a lot of great color without doing much labor intensive as far as hanging lots and lots of Christmas lights. These are IP66 as well as far as the waterproofing goes, but these do hold up. I've never had to replace one of these yet, and I think this one right here has been in service for almost 10 years. And the remote control is great, and they have ability to link multiple of these together with one remote control. When we're talking about the pros and cons of using RGBs, some of the cons I can think of is probably the waterproofing on these. They don't always hold up as well as we think they should. Some of the other cons is when people think of Christmas lights, they don't always think of using RGB. So they want the trees wrapped. They want the all the sparkle and the bling and the bling. So in that case, that's where this comes in conjunction with those. So you can't just put these up on the side of a building or on the side of a landscape display and think that's all it's going to take to please the customer. That's not what they're thinking. These are also accent things. So it's not a drop it, walk away and forget about it. Another thing is these are big units. So they do, now this one here is small, but the bigger ones that we put up, they do get knocked around a lot, especially here in the Dallas area where we are at. They're still mowing, the landscapers are still coming out, and they could give a rat about where you have your RGBs pointed and set out. So they go out there with mowers and knock our stuff around, move it all the time. That's some of the cons on these things. But the pros are awesome, because we can go out and give a display that the customer's going to love with the colors, and still wrap the trees and still be very affordable when it comes to their budgets. A lot of times they're wanting an entire block decorated, and if you're going to wrap all these trees and put all this these big lighted elements out there, you're going to be into the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. But with something like this, where we can go out and drop RGBs up and down the parkway and highlight the buildings and the stones, we can do it very economical. Thanks so much today about watching our little video on how we create a big splash using RGBs. I hope it was informative. If there's any questions you have, feel free to reach out to us. And once again, thanks for watching our video. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and leave us a comment if you got any questions. Till then, we'll see you later. Thank you.